In the autumn of 1886, a man stepped off a train into Whitmore City. No one noticed. That was exactly how he planned it.
Whitmore City was loud, desperate, and hungry. For most men, it was a struggle. For Elliot Harven, it was a hunting ground.
He took a modest room on Clement Street, paid in cash, smiled at the landlady, and she believed every word he said. 1 week in the city, one conversation, one smile. And the pharmacy on Caldwell Street had a new owner. 6 months later, the pharmacy belonged to him. Mrs. Prue gone.
He was not finished. He had never planned to stop. The city had no idea what was coming.
His greatest weapon was never a blade. It was his voice, his eyes, his perfect, practiced attention.
He healed a child, refused payment. By morning, the whole neighborhood called him a saint.
His name appeared in the newspaper, beside businessmen, beside the mayor, exactly where he had planned to be.
In the summer of 1888, he bought the land. The lawyer called it a hotel. Elliot said nothing to correct him. 3 frauds, 1 false engagement. 7 years until the exposition. For most men, a lifetime away. For Elliot Harven, it was simply the deadline.
Spring of 1889. Construction began. From the outside, it looked like any other building. That was the point.
7 architects. 7 pieces of one plan.
Rooms that locked only from outside. Walls that swallowed sound. Corridors that appeared on no floor plan.
Gas pipes ran into every selected room. 1 valve in his office. 1 turn of a handle. That was all it took.
The workers called him a good boss. Fair. Hands-on. Not one of them ever asked why he was so particular.
Autumn 1891. The last worker building was complete.
17 newspapers, 6 states.
She climbed the steps with a letter in her hand and hope in her eyes. He had been watching from the window since morning.
He opened the door before she could knock. He remembered the exact time from her letter. She never had a chance.
It was not an interview. It never was.
It was an assessment, and she passed every measure he had set.
The room was comfortable. The lock worked. The window opened. She checked. She wrote home to her mother that night.
He remembered every name, every story, every dream they shared. He was a real doctor, top 5% of his class. That was the most disturbing fact of all.
After hours, the clinic had a back room, a separate entrance, a second purpose.
A financier, a shipping company, a chemist. Each one innocent alone. Together they formed something else entirely.
The shipping company asked no questions. That was the only qualification he required from any of them.
He shook hands with the mayor at a civic dinner. His clinic was busy. His hotel was full. The exposition was 1 year away.
He was ready. He had been ready for years. The city had no idea what was standing in its middle.
May the 1st, 1893. The Grand Exposition opened. 27 million people were coming. Elliot Harven was ready.
They called it the Great White City. White on the outside. He understood better than anyone what color hides. Rooms available, clean and comfortable, reasonable rates. The sign in the window said everything except the truth. He was not indiscriminate. He chose carefully. He chose only the invisible ones, those with no one waiting. The exposition ran 6 months. The city celebrated. The ledger filled. The column of resolved names grew longer.
The exposition ended. The White City was torn down. The castle stood. Ordinary.
It was not his crimes that began to unravel him. It was a single insurance.
Arthur Creel had spent 22 years learning one thing. When a story is too perfect, someone wrote it in advance.
Every answer ready. Creel pulled one thread, then another, then a third. Each one led somewhere it should not have led.
Spring 1894. A city clerk measured his words too carefully. Elliot noticed immediately. He always noticed.
He did not panic. He had never panicked. He simply began, with complete calm, to prepare his exit. Thursday evening, November 1894. He told his staff he would return within the fortnight. He knew he would not.
He never traveled in a straight line. East, then south.
Port Aldrich, a new city.
Her name was Sophia Alderton, 26 years old, a private income. She fell in love with a man who did not exist.
Spring 1895, they married. Her family found him charming. They noticed he was more interested in the finances than seemed conventional.
Creel followed every thread. Whitmore City, Hartfield, Barrow City, Millstone Crossing. Each trail a little cleaner than the last.
The walls were closing in. Not fear. Information.
The letter arrived on a Tuesday. He did not recognize the law firm.
He burned the letter. Then he sat by the window and calculated. He had done this before. He would do it again.
South America required capital. Capital required time. Time was the one thing he no longer had enough of.
He moved Sophia's money. Twice in 1 week. Too fast. Too visible.
Friday morning, police arrived at Canal Street. He had been gone since Wednesday, but nothing looked like he had left.
A man who panics leaves a mess. A man in control leaves a scene. Elliot Harven had left a scene.
Creel sent telegrams to 11 cities. Somewhere out there, a man with pale gray eyes was calculating his next move. So was Creel.
She said she had not known. She said it 4 times. Each time it was true. Each time it cost her something.
He never spoke of his past. He had no old friends. His relatives were always recently deceased. She came into his study without knocking. He looked up. In the half-second before the mask returned, she saw what was underneath.
Varley wrote it in his notebook. Then he underlined it. There was no one home. He had never written anything like it.
Varley stood on the pavement outside. He thought about what it meant to look into a face and find no one home. Then he went to send a telegram to Arthur Creel.
11 cities, 11 telegrams, 11 police departments searching. And for a long time, Nanette, nothing. He was simply gone.
The castle stood on Whitmore Avenue. His name still on the sign. The basement undisturbed. The ledger still locked. Waiting.
Somewhere, a man with pale gray eyes stepped off a train into a city that did not know his name.